I introduce the panelists, I would like to have a video played on what journey they're going to take you on. Go ahead, please play the video.
The infinite is not a place to reach, but a truth to remember that within you lies a horizon without end. John Sadhguru and distinguished global thought leaders for the exclusive book launch of Seeking the Infinite at the IAAC Literary Festival on November 16, 2025. Let's celebrate wisdom, culture, and inspiration in this unmissable age.
So what I'm going to do now is introduce the panel, and they're each exceptional, and one could just talk endlessly about each one because each one is infinite in their own ways. But you want to hear them, not me. So I'm going to present one beacon light for each person, and then there will be a last person who will be a Kumari that I won't say a word, we'll just invite her on the stage. So, the moderator of this panel, our guide into the exploration of this book, is the brand guru, Suhail Seth. Remember I said Mother Ganga is the ultimate brand, so we have to get the brand guru in India, Suhail Seth. He's a voice, a commanding voice, at the intersection of business, media, and public life. I can assure you that the conversation we facilitate will be deep but not predictable. In our panel, first and foremost, Professor Diana Eck. She has mapped both India's sacred geography and America's religious diversity. And she helps us see place itself as a doorway to the divine. Rabbi Scott Nadus brings a living, everyday Judaism, warm, practical, and deeply interfaith to the questions of how we seek and how we belong. I had the pleasure last night of meeting Gurudev Sri Anish. He is a Himalayan master and a former CEO who speaks to leaders and seekers alike about Vairagya, death, and the courage to awaken. We have the very Reverend Vinny Varghese, Dean of St. John the Divine, whose ministry stands at the meeting point of faith, justice, and the immigrant story. I sincerely regret that our last panelist, Imam Faisal, was not able to join us because of an unforeseen extension of his overseas trip. We look forward to welcoming him at a future IAC event. As you can see, together the panelists, certainly we've never had this kind of a panel. They transform what would normally be a book talk into something larger. It's a modern satsang where economics, ethics, scripture, lived experience intersect, and where they will invite us to take our own personal step towards our own infinite potential. Please join me in welcoming all of them to the stage. Welcome.
It's on. Yeah. Thanks.
My God. If the session on death wasn't enough, the introduction almost killed. Which I'm sure it did to a lot of people. I've always believed that in India, if we got rid of the introduction, the lighting of the lamp, and the vote of thanks, our country's GDP would increase manifold. I don't want to be nice and popular and very sweet today. And I have to say, congratulations, New Yorkers. Who would come at 4 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon on a bright sunny day to be told that you poor souls are all dying? And enjoy the fact that you're dying and you could die anytime. It would be untimely but not sudden. Today has actually been a day of cerebral reawakening for me, and I look forward to diving into the infinite, which is how it's pronounced in England, and discover through this eminent panel the world of the coup. I don't know, but you know, the gentleman who is introducing us is a formidable brand person, as he told us himself last night. He had 400 brands reporting to him. I don't think the Mother Ganga is a brand. It's a faith, it's an article of belief, it's whatever. I wouldn't bring it down to the level of a brand. But let me start with these really bright, eminent, accomplished people. And I want to start by asking you one question, each one of you. If you were given a choice, would you want the person to be religious or spiritual? You can only choose one. So don't give us that we'll take a bit of this and bit of that. There's no partial preference. Choose one. Would you like the person to be religious?
Spiritual.
Or would you like... No, I've asked them. We'll also get you onto the panel the next time. Would you like the person to be religious or spiritual? Let's go.
I'd start with spiritual, thank you. I mean, it has a bigger dimension. Religions can be a little wooden, and they create a lot of trouble through the years. So rather than adhering to a religion, I would like someone to have an inner life of the spirit.
Brilliant. So the two of you have created trouble. What do you have to say to that? She just said religion is wooden and it's created trouble.
And you know what I'll say? I'm a big fan of religion. I would want people to be religious because religion is a practice. Much harm has been caused by religion. But I would say much harm has been caused by people thinking they're sorting out something about the divine on their own. I think religion involves community and disciplines and practice. And some of the finest moments of human civilization come out of religion.
Okay? The rabbi?
I would say it's very difficult to separate them if they are to be their best essence. And that if somebody's religious without spirituality, it lacks life, it lacks neshama, soul. And then spirituality without direction, without practice, is like a light just shining somewhere without hitting physicality, which it needs to hit to bring that illumination into the world.
So Suhail is a very practical man. At one point, religion and spirituality, there was no difference. At one point of time. But we're talking about 2025. So religion became a symbol of ritual. And when you add spirit to the ritual, that's when it becomes spiritual. Now, spirit of what is the question? To the ritual, if you add the spirit of inquiry, spirit of service, spirit of contemplation, and spirit of devotion, that's when the rituals become spiritual. Now, it's everybody, one can choose. For me, there is no difference as such, because with the ritual I add spirit, and it becomes spiritual.
No.
There's no difference at all for me.
So if you were to choose, see, this is why being in the Himalayas really insulates you from reality. If you were to choose between being spiritual or religious, what would you choose?
So in the current context of it, spirit is the way.
So spiritual.
Correct. But I have to give you the context.
No, that's George Bernard Shaw. His prefaces were longer than his plays. So I got your answer. Spiritual, religious, spiritual, Yaqub.
Just a simple life where you just be karmic. You don't need to know all these big shlokas and everything. And being a spiritual person means you be somebody who walks the talk, you know.
So let's start with your book. Very rarely do wives who are so passionate, so committed, allow their authorship to be subsumed by their husband. When Shilpa was writing the book, I'm just joking. On a serious note, I think the book is marvelous. For those of you who haven't been to the Kumbh, you've actually missed out. It is the largest orderly gathering of many disorderly people. It is amazing. It's set beautifully. To quote a famous speaker just now, Grand Ganga travels merrily through the portals of humanity. But what I found remarkable about Yaqub Matthews' book is the essential simplicity of what life serves us and how we go on to complicate our lives. And I then want to ask the second question to the panel. I don't know if many of you have read Alain de Botton. So in a book called Religion for Atheists, Alain de Botton says, that's his surmise, that religion was created by humanity to bring order, conformity, control, and cloister. In a very tangential way, Amartya Sen, in his seminal non-economics book from your college, from Harvard, a book called Idea of Justice says, when Krishna was riding the chariot and Arjuna was behind, they knew that they were going into war. Which god would condone war when you know that in the aftermath there'll be death, destruction, and orphans? So, do you believe, Diana, and then we'll take it through, religion was obviously a human invention. It has evolved. The church has gone through its own paces. Judaism has gone through its own paces. Luckily, Hinduism is a faith, it's a way of life, it's not a religion. We are protected. I mean, other than the jokers who confuse Hindutva with Hinduism, but that's for them. Where do you come on this, Diana, when you talk about religion and then the absolute issues about religion being used to conform, control, and cloister?
That's a tough one. I mean, let me just say that, you know, I think there's so many different sides. And when I went to the Kumbh, that was previously, 13 years ago, we were looking at an aspect of human creation that is very different. The book that we wrote is absolutely different from Seeking the Infinite. We were not there with people seeking the infinite. We were there as a team of people from public health and engineering and strategies and religion and law and business, who were trying to understand how it was possible that this human creation of the whole Kumbh city, sort of ephemeral city that grew up over the course of several weeks with pontoon bridges and roads and lighting and latrines and everything. What an amazing human creation this was. So nothing about, I mean, we do have some things about spirituality and the reason that people come, but the way that it was framed was so very different, because we were there to ask the question, how on earth did they do this? And it is an immense human achievement, a real human achievement. And that's a different question. Religious communities do have achievements that are visible and present and sometimes difficult. But I think, as Winnie said, they also have communities. And what do you think about this for a minute then?
So I just take that. Yeah, Winnie, please.
Yeah, so I agree that religion is used as a tool of social control, absolutely, and it generates violence and conflict. But as you all know, the idea of religion as we have it comes out of the colonial era and the British encounter with India, right? The religious studies idea of religion is constructed as we have it, which I find as an Indian fascinating, right? That even what defines what a religion is, as we're talking about religion versus a practice or a faith, is a very contemporary idea. So yes, it can be used as a tool of social control. Where it came from, my gut is that it comes from people trying to make sense of experience, of their experience of what is sacred, what is holy, what is divine, what is powerful, what is mysterious, how the world works. Now, how that's been organized has been used by empire and by powerful people, and sometimes by business, right, to create division and harm. But I actually think it comes, because obviously contrast, right? I think it comes from a very pure place of trying to say something true about human experience. So I haven't been to the Kumbh, and I hope I get to go at some point in my life. But I've been to religious processions in Kerala, where my family is from, which I think is the heart of religion.
So I just want to expand on that with you briefly. If you meet with an accident and you survive, everyone says, God saved you. But if you die, he was drunk and driving. We don't apportion any blame to God, but we draw sustenance from him. we fear him or her. I mean, I'm not getting into any of this woke gender descriptions. So, are we using God as a crutch? And is that fair on ourselves and on God? Because, frankly, other than Sadhguru, I don't think anyone's seen God.
What?
Because, he's seeing himself in the mirror, but, I haven't seen God yet.
Come on.
And he's
You
been
have
an
not
offer of mine. I did a
seen
1-hour live with him and asked him the same question then. That, why are you people called God men?
I want to go.
But that's us. So there is a fear in humanity that perhaps we need sustenance. So how do you react?
So one, I know many people that blame God for the suffering in their lives. And that is it's a strong tradition in the Christian tradition to lament and cry out and blame. And cry out for to bring our most raw and authentic feelings into a life of prayer and to cry out. I wonder if the reason we say thank God when something works out is it feels so fleeting and fortunate and lucky that things have worked out. And we know, especially when we know we didn't do it. It wasn't just us studying for the exam, that there's something miraculous in it.
It's so interesting, and I love the fact that you said that. Many years ago, for a particular brand, there was a research done, and what we found was more people were thanking God than thanking their parents. And that tells you about the social milieu that we operate in. But I come to the rabbi. What do you feel about this whole issue of religion being used to control, conform, and cloister? And to counter what Vinny said, that it's a great social cohesion tool, but it's today becoming a huge tool of conflict. And that's the worrisome thing.
So, being that I really learned religion and spirituality from my mother, to me, it does have a point of conformity in order to it, but it taught me that it is conformity in order in my own life. And that the concept, because Judaism is like Hinduism traditionally. In Reform, you show up Friday night, maybe you do something or you don't. But traditionally, we wake up, Modi'ani, left and that. Thank you, God, for waking me up and returning my soul within me. Then we wash, and then we do a blessing for our prayer book, a blessing for our tzitzit, a blessing for everything we do throughout the day. So it's a continual idea of a mitzvah. And a mitzvah commonly means it's a good deed. Mitzvah is often called commandment, not a great translation. It means a connection, a way we connect to the divine, a way we connect to the Most High, to Spirit. So when I give charity before I pray, when I give a helping hand, when I visit the sick, when I give honor to my parents, when I share love to a stranger, I'm connecting to God, because we are considered B'Tselem Elohim, the image of God, which really in Hebrew means the shadow of God. So if I move in the shadow of God, I'm actually emulating the love and the beauty and the oneness with God. So I think when I have that order within my own life, then it brings order in my family, my relationships, and then community and society. I think it grows outward from there.
Okay, so Anish, I just want to preface with an example. I was born and raised in Calcutta, and we had the good fortune of having Mother Teresa around at that time. And her entire philosophy was death with dignity. She never said, I will alleviate poverty. It was picking up leprosy patients from the streets of Calcutta, people who had no hope in their lives, and then just giving them a death of dignity. And she famously said, love, love, love until it hurts. Do you think, Anish, and you've gone through this whole, cycle, do you believe we've started loving less and seeking more in a materialistic sense? And where do you think lie the solutions?
Brilliant. So here this work of Yaakov, and what I love about this book is two things largely. One is Mahaprabhu, and we'll talk about that. The other is the title. That caught my attention, seeking the infinite. Yes, we started loving less because we are not seeking the infinite anymore, we're seeking the finite. And that finite is your money, your fame, your whatever tangible you're trying to grasp in life. And the whole premises of religion, whenever it got created by any great enlightened being, was to push people, inspire people to move their focus from seeking the finite to seeking the infinite. Now you call it religion, spirituality is your choice, but that's the whole thing where it all started. Now, because whenever you will seek the finite, because the very notion it is finite, I will not share it with you. There goes love out of the window. But when I'm seeking the infinite, it's infinite. I will share it more and more with the world out there because it's infinite. And that's the beauty of this title, Yaqub. And I love this title. Whosoever came up with that. This
Shilpa.
Can I take 1 more minute over here? This Mahakumbh, what is this event all about, which was happening there? And I personally was there. We were filming there. We were making a film on Mahakumbh. What I really saw, witnessed firsthand, Suhail, is that millions of people, you call it faith or whatever, but I've met a few 100,000 people there and I asked them, why are you here? Seeking the infinite was the reason in their heart. That's why they're there. And when you have a critical mass of people seeking the infinite with that spirit, it creates a certain vibration. And that's Mahakumbh.
Yes.
It's a collective field of vibration. Hope I answered your question.
You have. Actually, you have. I want to come to a thing, and Yaqub, this is within and beyond the remit of your book. If you look at the relationship between man and God, in many cases it's transactional. You know, I'll come to your temple, and if, you know, I have a baby boy, or, you know, I meet Meera Gandhi, finally, I'll come back to your temple again. It's transactional. Perhaps humankind is the only species that is transacting with this God. And yet, as Anish very rightly says, for me the Mahakumbh is a melting pot of divine belief. It's nothing less, nothing more. You believe. Why do you believe? I'm not accountable. No one is accountable to say why you're going to the Mahakumbh. But I'm going to the Mahakumbh and taking a dip in the Ganga, whether it's a brand, not a brand, product, commodity. I believe it. So, how do you come to terms with the fact that there's an overpowering belief, which logically you may or may not be able to explain, but spiritually it's in your being?
So let me try and explain. I went from the city of New York. I'm a Christian by belief and not by much of practice. But having said that, it just came to my mind. I never celebrated a birthday in my life when I was 60 years of age. So I told my wife, I had some difficulties when I was 58. I said, we must celebrate with the gods. She said, where is God? I said, my Hindu brothers tell me it's at the Sangam. She said, are you going to the Kumbh? I said, yes. And then I did the arrangements, and then I said I should share. I always believe in sharing abundance. I should invite my friends from all over the world. So we were 19 of us, and we hosted them, and people from Southport to Milan to London, wherever they came. And all I saw, it was something which first, it mesmerized me. These people are going and dipping themselves in this water. I just with an open mind, and I was even very hesitant to get into that water. I was standing, so my wife asked me, are you not going to the water? So I said, let me just empty my mind and close my eyes. And at that time, I wanted to give up something. For me, food or drink and all that very minor. So I shaved my head, and I looked like Chanakya. So it was a spectacular look. And all I know is, I felt very happy to be there, because I saw the people very ecstatic, very relieved that they was getting something heavenly. So I came out, and then I was thinking of what is this? So it was not a pre-planned, majorly managed trip, nothing. It was spur of the moment. And in that, I saw the power of faith. Bhakti me Shakti. And that faith those people carried, and they felt they were reaching the infinite. So getting that title was, I don't know, I am not a writer, so I don't claim anything. So that's the first thing. So I think it's a work of grace, it's a divine gift, because this book has sold out even before we got it to Amazon. I had nothing. It's a global hit. I can tell you very clearly. So it's viewed all over the world, and the who's of the world want to host it, and I know these people also. They telephone me. So now it's going from here, the opening of Jaipur Literary Festival. Then it goes to the President of India. Then it goes to the Vice President's house. Then it goes to the Chief Justice is hosting it for the public. Then it goes to the Crown Prince of Dubai. Then it goes to the House of Lords. Then it goes to Vatican by the Pope and ultimately the US Congress. So all this is nothing but a grace which has just happened. And we saw the book and said, I didn't do this book. Shilpa said, wow, this looks so good. And the main thing is not sort of pictures or something. It's a manifestation of something beyond. And that beyond is that it's not a conclusion, it's a catalyst. It will bring different reactions from different people. So the forward was very interesting. Sadhguru did the forward. Then we had Avdeshananda Giri, who organized the Kumbh. Then we had the Cardinal from Rome, who was running for the Pope. Then we had this gentleman, Anupam Kher, who did Sanatan Dharam. And of course, we had Muzaffar Ali, my friend, who wrote on myth, moksha, and so all I can say is this whole belief of God. This book is about godliness. It's something beyond God. It's how can we evolve into being a person who's realized and ultimately evolved to understand consciousness or Ek Onkar. So it's used different sorts of glances of the infinite when nobody knows the truth. So man made God, but if you want to know the God that made man, you've got to know the man-made God. So once we understand that, we have this is a very simple book, and it's 2.2 kgs, 244 pages. But I'm telling you, it's a piece of art which will tickle you.
I mean, if there was any self-marketing, then the press goes in that. That is why Wells Fargo makes money by selling yours. But that's for another debate. Having said, and don't ever tell people 2.2 kilos. I mean, Indigo will never fly these guys. I mean, they're almost removing leg space now, I've been told. It's an airline in India. It's actually low cost, high paying. We'll come to that later. So now I want to start wrapping up because I've been told that we have a finite time limit, if for nothing else. So let's imagine we had a world which did not have religion. What would have changed and what would change? Imagine, Diana, that you woke up in a world which had no Christians, no Jews, no Hindus, no Sikhs, but just great human beings and humanity. Because the question that I'm leading up to is, at times do we sacrifice humanism at the altar, no pun intended, of religion?
Let me say, I love the first line in Yakub's book, which is, how on earth did a Syrian Christian from an Orthodox religious community find solace at Tikkun? And you do that so beautifully by the range of people. You know, it's not just Hindus, it's Hindus and Muslims and Christians and former Archbishop of Mumbai and people from all walks of life who came with you. And what you did was to sort of invite them to share their own insights. So it's a multi-vocal with lots of different voices. And the sort of fly leaves have emblems of the different religious traditions of the world. There is a sense in which it brings together your own sense of the importance of sort of attenuating the differences between religions to a real interfaith vision. And that's a beautiful thing. thing that people often think of in the end. Why did you go? Well, some people go because of all the exotic looking sadhus and babas and whatnot who were there. And there are quite a lot of them. People, I would say, a surfeit of sadhus and babas in their various forms. But when you consider the fact that this is not, I mean, it's just people at the Kumbh, mainly. And there is no temple there. People don't go to worship in a temple in Prayagraj. They go to the river, and the rivers are the cathedrals of India. The rivers are the places that are the most important. And so they are the rivers. And that's what people would say. Well, what kind of religion is that? But, you know, the rivers are the lifelines of the world. The rivers are alive in India now. Yet the rivers have rights. And so, you know, I don't know about waking up in a world in which there is no religion, but when you wake up in a world that is a mass of humanity, 15 million people on any given day, you do tend to sort of drop the trappings. Yeah, you drop the trappings, and it is a sea of people, and they come from all over.
Yeah, this is a hard question. I heard that if you were in the session before, one of the final questions was something about describing our bodies as hardware and our minds as software. And I guess the way I would answer the question is, I just don't think that's true. I think that's enough. I mean, there's something more to the human experience than just these bodies and minds. And almost, I mean, every faith tradition I'm aware of speaks to the quality of love among us as something greater than simply our biology. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the only language we have for it. But I just think we're more. So I can't imagine a world, I really can imagine a world in which we're not seeking to name that connection that is greater than just our biology and our self-interest, and taking care of the people that are closest to us because evolutionarily we must. I just think we're more than that. So I think a lot will be lost. And I think that, you know, the other end of that is that we practice our religion in our bodies. So the seeking of the divine is also just in, you know, in our tradition we would say a spark of the divine is in all of us. So if we seek to know God, we have to be curious about one another and find ways to love one another. And particularly the most vulnerable among us, the most unlovable, that the world tells us are unlovable. And I guess I wonder if we don't have that, if that didn't exist. It seems to me the world would be very cruel.
I agree. There's a challenge in the question, and I like the challenge because I very much view my religious practice as a way to build a vessel to have a spiritual connection. However, in human beings with egos, we can often say that this is my name that I use for the Most High, therefore it's the right name, and if you have another one, it's the wrong name or the wrong way of going about your faith. So by removing it, then it might strip us down to the ability to have what you call a lechlecha moment, where I believe you had this, you were called by Source. I'm not going to name a God named Source. McCormick means source of all creation. Source called you forth. You answered with Hineni, here I am. You stepped forward, invited your entourage, your brothers and sisters, and you went on this journey. And by doing so, you had this spiritual experience, this connection, that's the word I want, this connection to what we call Ein Sof, which means the infinite, without a label, without anything that would then impede the experience by putting a word or a label or a stamp on it. So I think the potentiality could be amazingly beautiful.
Because you know the video, if you analyze theology from an academic perspective, all religions, when they were created or formed, were to alleviate some undying dissatisfaction that mankind had with his or her present situation. You look at the advent of Buddhism, you look at the advent of Sikhism. There are enough books on Sikhism. Some postulate that Sikhism was created erroneously. A lot say, oh, we needed warriors. No, it was created actually to get rid of the pernicious caste system that Hinduism had embedded in it. But here's the irony. That same caste system today is within Sikhism. So you have Dalit Sikhs, you have Namdhari Sikhs, so you've created sects within it. So the question, Anish, I want to ask is that we will never see the end of evolutionary theology. Islam was misquoted by a man who thankfully died 3 weeks ago, Dick Cheney, when he said Islamic Jihad. Because you put the title of jihadism to a religion, which is grossly unfair. And it is inhuman to, castigate any religion and paint everyone in the same brush. Do you believe, Anish, as a person who's, in the mountains breathing good quality air like people in Delhi who are dying? I mean, we didn't need Sadhguru session. He should have just asked me, are you dying? I said, every day. You wake up and you do Gurugram, you're dead. How do you believe things will evolve, or will religion continue to spin as it continue to evolve, continue to get rid of the negatives, or perhaps subsume more?
Okay. Before I answer that, Sudhir, for a minute I want to talk about Mahakumbh, because seeking the infinite is about that. See, the ancient culture of India did something phenomenal. First, they created stories so that the spirit of seeking the infinite is alive in the future generations. But stories get corrupted over a period of time. That is when they created these very smart events, like Mahakumbh. Now, what's the significance of that? It's just not an event where you pick up a certain date on a certain month or a year and say, on this date, let's all come together and, it's not that. There's whole astronomical science behind it. When Sun, Moon and Jupiter align in a certain way, which happens only in 12 years, for 40 days that alignment happens. That is the time that they choose to create Mahakumbh.
Yes.
And when 12 cycles of this 12-year period is over, that is when you get Mahakumbh, which is 144 years. So there is a deep astronomical, astrological significance behind it. Why did this civilization create events like that? So that generations after every 150 odd years come back together in millions and reignite each other's quest for seeking the infinite. So it's not attributed to a particular religion.
Yes.
One. Two, when I was at Mahakumbh, so I met Buddhists there, I met Sikh religion people there, I met Christians there, I met Muslims there, apart from huge Hindus and various sects of Hindus, from Jainism to all Sikh. So it's a melting pot of civilizational work, not a particular religion's work. That's the background. Now coming to your question. I'm a great, not a devotee, but a lover of Shiva. And I see everything from that lens, because that's a great lens and it logically proves everything to me. So what will happen in the future? And I will also answer the question which you did ask me. What would be the world like if there is no religion? To that I will say, the current version of religion, if it's not there, we'll have a much peaceful world. The current version of religion.
If there was no current version, it would be more peaceful.
Absolutely.
That's a non sequitur, yeah, right.
So that's what I'm saying. Now we said the evolution of religion. From Shiva's lens and from my own anubhava, what I see, everything is extremely cyclical. So we create beautiful institutions and belief systems. Over a period of time, they get corrupted. When they get corrupted, they get lost in the movement of time. And then somebody would come who realizes the truth, the way Jesus, the way Buddha, the way Nanak, the way Ramakrishna Paramahansa, the way Swami Vivekananda did. And that is when a new lineage starts. A new sun rises again. But in due course of time, the sun becomes black hole. And that is what the evolutionary business is all about. So no sun is and will ever be permanent. Our current sun is also becoming a black hole, just for 2 billion years more we have. So it's a cycle, Sudhir. It is not a permanent phenomena. It will keep evolving. Sometimes it will go down, sometimes the sun will rise again. That's what I believe and experience.
Very good.
One of my sins, no pun intended, I am an atheist, but when we were growing up, we grew up on the works of people like the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. You had the interpretations of Ajita Krishnamurti. You saw the changes and why organizations like the Brahmo Samaj and the Arya Samaj and the Ramakrishna Mission were set up. These were missionary organizations to carry forward the Hindu flag, as it were, but they were more philosophical in nature. So this is the last round of questions that I'm going to ask, and I would urge you to keep your comments brief. Do you believe in some form or the other the philosophical heft of religion and its engagement with the individual has dipped? Earlier, we were also conceptually aligned to the concept of God, whether it was through the prism of astrology, rituals, whatever it was. Do you now believe it's very basic? We've hit the lowest common denominator rather than the highest common factor?
I don't think so. I mean, each of us in our own families has a language that we use and a set of people that we revere. And religious communities are a little bit like that. They're like families. And you don't necessarily fight over whose family is better, although some people do. In any case, yeah, I think the issue is not about finding a common denominator that is sort of a kind of spiritual, universal language. That's not the point. But bringing the distinctive languages of each of us into relationship with others. Relationship is critical.
Vinny?
Yeah, I agree with you that religious nationalism, which is around, all over the world right now, is just dangerous, violent, and discriminatory. It's in India, it's emerging here. I think we are in a particularly grim moment in that way. It's a very shallow and hateful version of all of our traditions. I think it's hard to be a religious person in the majority of a nation like that. And it's easy to walk away from your religion because those aren't the things you believe in. I feel that here. I have friends in India that feel the same way. So in that way, the way religion is being used in public is horrifying right now. And I think it's the responsibility of religious people to contest that. And people who aren't religious, I think, should call us out on that. That's not a true practice of faith. It's a very abusive use of the name of God. So yes, there's something in public that I think is really vicious right now, all over this planet. And I think there are always faithful people of all religions serving the poor and watching out for the vulnerable and seeking God in their lives and loving their families and loving their neighbors. So you find the two together.
Excellent. Well, thanks to an American woman and the church, we have King Charles III as king. Otherwise, it would have been a different lineage altogether if the church hadn't objected to a divorcee. But we'll come to that in yet another session. The rabbi, please.
Please correct me if I'm not answering your question.
Don't bother. No one cares about the question. Just read it. You see, you have to follow the traditional Hindu logic. Everything belongs to no one and nothing belongs to everyone. Now go figure that shit out. If you answer any question, we will assume it is an answer to our question. We don't even say it like that.
religion and spirituality, religion is the way to connect to source. And if we think of something like maybe an eternal fire, the handler determines what happens with that fire. The handler can take the fire and burn down the house, burn somebody, destroy, or take that same fire and make glass,
Yes.
make beautiful metal objects, make food, warm the home, create light. So, unfortunately, there are people...
Or as the previous speaker said, use it for cremation.
Yes, exactly. So as such, then I feel religion very strongly has to do with those who are handling that source, that power, and it's a very strong, like with electricity or whatever we name it, the river, very strong, and what we do with it really is up to us. And as such, I think it's very powerful to unite, to share love, peace, joy, healing, and to really bring us together as brothers and sisters. Unfortunately, there are people with nationalism and other goals politically that use it to destroy.
Brilliant.
So, in your previous funny comment, the last line you spoke is that we're trained that way, and that's where the problem is. If you're trained in a way where you cannot question anything, that's the bottom rung of religion, and that's where the problem arises. So I don't connect to that version of religion or spirituality at all. For me, religion and spirituality, what I practice or follow, is the Upanishadic tradition, where you inspire people, you excite people to ask questions, and let's explore the version of the truth together. Because your version of current truth and my version of current truth could be two different things. Let us not fight over it. Let's come together, explore in a spirit of inquiry. I'm coming back to again to you, to Yaku, seeking the infinite. That's the whole process. If any system which kills this spirit of inquiry and asking question, then always remember we are the peak of Kali Yuga. Yeah? And that doesn't work. That's where religion loses me. It doesn't work. Last point on this story, and it's a self-assessment test for all of you. If your version of religion or truth makes you transactional, not just with God, with every human being, with every plant, with every species, sorry, you're going the wrong path.
Yeah.
And if your version of religion or truth makes you transformational, you enter into any relation to be transformed and to create transformation, your version of religion is working. That's the only thing.
Perfect.
So now we will come to the very end of our finite discussion. And Yaakov, you're at the cusp of creating a cult. Because when it's your 70th birthday, we can either look at a MAGA event that is happening somewhere on the 23,000 acres in Tennessee, or we can look at Seattle to see where the data centers are buried, or we can go back to the Kum and create one. Create Cosmic City. What would you like to do on your 70th? Which are the swords who thought they were Yaakov's friends but weren't invited to his... Yes, there you are. There's always a woman who protests but weakly. That's Shakespeare in case you're interested. Yeah.
Very interesting question, but before I answer that question, this whole panel was saying religion and all this. So it's a very sort of a simple case. Again, I'm not promoting myself, but many masters were either invited or came into my life, whether it was Jiddu Krishnamurti or Mother Teresa, and the very rare Mar Gregorius. So Mar Gregorius III, who was the head of the World Council of Churches, was family, and Mother Teresa was family. So every 2 weeks for 25 years they were with me. So one day I asked Mother, who is God? So she looked at me and she said, son, God is love, and love is God. So I never went into any Christianity or Buddhism or anything like that. All I understand is that if you give till it hurts, it matters, because you get the satisfaction. So I said, where does God stay? So she said, son, in the eyes of the poorest of the poor. So he said, go and give people who can't thank you. So all I know is, for me, there's no religion, and in that religion which I have practiced, it's basic giving. And that's why I love Sikhism, the seva. And having said that, now a fellow was here, Mr. KB Singh, and I have spent hours and hours talking of all these questions. And KB has been a brother and always somebody who has helped me to understand a lot of things. So now the 70th birthday is something which I don't look forward to because I don't know whether I'll be there. So I don't make long-term plans. When I was facing death at the age of 58, it came at a mosque for Lajmer Sharif. And all I do is, I go to India 3 to 4 times a year feeding the poor. For me, feeding and education is very important. So over there, I got a pancreatic attack. And somehow, they brought me back to America after 11 days of ICU in Delhi. And then it was a whole series of fighting. I didn't fight. I succumbed. I accepted. So the doctor, when he saved me, he said, you didn't ask a single question. I said, because I accepted death. So having said that, I don't make long-term plans, Mr. Sohail said. I live for the day. So I only live the day completely. So today, you and I have been laughing, yesterday we were laughing, so it's been beautiful days. So that's the sort of no long-term plans.
You know, no one seems to be dying, no one seems to be unhappy. Everyone is living in the moment. So what the hell? Anyway, on that splendid note of happiness, I will just end by saying that ultimately, when the book of your life is written, people will only ask you one thing. Did you do right and did you stand by right? Nothing else matters. Theology and philosophers and poets, they will all come and go. And you know, Sadhguru talked about 13 days. Everyone, so often I am asked, what is your legacy going to be? I said, listen, I was born a Hindu. For 13 days, the jokers will have to be vegetarian and can't drink. On the 14th day, they'll forget me. So let's not get into legacy. The legacy we build is the honesty we serve and the purpose with which we live. On that note, it's time for all of us to get even more spiritual. It comes in a bottle and it's aged.
So just be seated because we have a small, 2-minute video which is absolutely fabulous on this concept. So can we have that last video, please? This is beautiful. It's really beautiful. Yeah, let's go there. Okay. He wants a group photo. Yeah. Shall the author come, Shilpa?
Real author.
Yes. I know last year or last time also. I think of the better, I think they are going to make us sit so much. Excuse me.
So we just have the last video. Just can we start the video and we'll come down? Thank you. Just watch the last video.
Oh wow. Look at it. Really, it was amazing experience.
एक बात पूछ सकता हूँ आपसे लोग कहते हैं कि कुंभ में सत्य और धर्म का स्थान तो मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा कि क्या सच है और क्या झूठ है आओगे यहाँ तक आओगे, आपको नसीब होंगे गंगा जी में हाथ मिलेगा और
मेरा काम यहाँ बस रिपोर्ट करना है, इस भीड़ के बारे में लिखना है, बस।
कहाँ से आई हो? बाहर से। मेला देखने आई हो? हाँ।
पर मुझे लगता है ये कुंभ सिर्फ एक तमाशा है।
महाकुंभ है, ये मेला नहीं, ये मेला नहीं, ये महाकुंभ है। कुंभ में सनातन की जड़ है। जिसको मां बुलाएगी गंगा मैया वही लगेगा। हम लोग की शक्ति है, जो कुछ शंकर भगवान है।
किसी दूसरे के सत्य को समझने से पहले अपने सत्य को खोजो।
And sure they will find it. I found it. Let us still find it too.
प्रश्नों के पीछे छिपे मौन को साधो, सत्य के दर्शन उसी मौन में होंगे।
Great moment.